You know, that's a good segue into our third topic,
segue.
which is about the economy. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs. Would raising taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
Thank you. On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker.
Give me a break. Anybody who can throw coal into a furnace can learn how to program, for God's sake.
And the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing.
Our agenda is relentlessly pro-worker, pro-family, pro-growth, and most of all, pro-American. Since my election, the net worth of the bottom half of wage earners has increased by 47%, 3 times faster than the increase for the top 1%. After decades of flat and falling incomes, wages are rising fast, and wonderfully, they are rising fastest for low-income workers who have seen a 16% pay increase since my election. Real median household income is now at the highest level ever recorded.
Which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America.
Monday, Iglesias admitted the bill had in fact been a success, despite Democratic insistence to the contrary. The facts say a clear majority got a tax cut. We can see that for people who are making $10,000 to $30,000, your taxes actually went up a little bit. That's fair to point out. The lower class took a hit on this. That's not cool. Not cool at all. Most people will see a tax cut, but yes, the lion's share goes to people making more than $100,000 a year. It's not perfect, but the issue is about the percentage of the taxes being paid. If rich people are making more money, a tax cut will mean they save a lot more money. Donald Trump's tax cuts, for the most part, are benefiting upper middle class to upper class people. Middle class people did get a tax cut. Lower class people got hurt on this, and we can probably do a better job. Imagine if that was the message Democrats came out with.
Leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for.
Key takeaways. The $1.5 trillion is one main government estimate of the net rise in deficits due to the tax acts over 10 years. The Congressional Budget Office now predicts deficits will go up $1.9 trillion. So there you go. There's Joe Biden's figure. I get it. There's a deficit. That's a problem. We're hoping that increase in trade volume will actually generate more tax revenue and offset that. I don't know if that'll actually happen. That's the plan.
On day one, Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it.
Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of 4 had $2,000 in savings in taxes. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes.
And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened.
So we're cutting the federal permitting timeline for a major project from up to 20 years or more, hard to believe, down to 2 years or less. So we have it down to about 2 years right now, Elaine, and I think 2 years or less. And our goal is 1 year. And we have up here, by the way, that's a chart of the old system and the new system. And I think the new system is better. I think it's better not only in time, I think it's better in terms of the process, and I think it's better in terms of the importance from an environmental and a safety standpoint.
But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges.
One of the first projects accelerated by these reforms will be the planned expansion of I-75 right here in Georgia.
But also investing in clean energy and renewable energy.
With $55.5 billion in new investment in renewable energy capacity, That was about $10 billion more than the previous all-time high.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait,
I'm speaking.
it'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
that is
that's the math.
absolutely not true. That
Is he
tax
only
bill-
Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that.
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated and no more subsidies for either one of those.
Joe Biden is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back.
Good evening. This is the worst economic recovery America has ever had. Have a look at this. This chart starts in January 2008 with the steep rise in unemployment. Unemployment soared over 8%, and it has stayed over 8% for 41 months in a row.
And now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term.
The report says disadvantaged Americans have benefited more under Trump than under Obama. The wealth of the lower half has increased 15.2% under Trump versus 4.1% under Obama.
Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster.
Still, economists warn this recession will be unlike other downturns in recent history because it was spawned by a health crisis, not by an unhealthy economy.
On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression.
We may well be in a recession, but again, I would point to the difference between this and a normal recession. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with our economy.
On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act.
Millions of Americans will face big price hikes and fewer choices when Obamacare open enrollment begins. The government says the cost of mid-level health plans next year will increase by an average of 25%. That will hit consumers in 39 states.
Which brought health care to over 20 million Americans and protected people with pre-existing conditions. And what it also did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford.
So you've got this crazy system where all of a sudden 25 million more people have health care, and then the people who are out there busting it sometimes 60 hours a week wind up with their premiums doubled and their coverage cut in half. It's the craziest thing in the world.
On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which means that you will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions.
In this morning's tweet, the president says he will always protect people with pre-existing conditions.
And this is very important, Susan.
Yes,
and it's
but
important.
we need to give Vice President.
He interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please. If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you.
The historic action I'm taking today includes the first ever executive order to affirm it is the official policy of the United States government to protect patients with pre-existing conditions. So we're making that official.
If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition,
Thank
they're
you, Senator
coming
Harris.
for you.
We're putting it down in a stand because our opponents, the Democrats, like to constantly talk about it, and yet pre-existing conditions are much safer with us than they are with them, and now we have it affirmed. This is affirmed, signed, and done, so we can put that to rest.
They're coming for you.
They'll say it anyway because it's disinformation.
Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels.
I want you to just take a look, okay? You don't have to agree, but I want you to look in my eyes. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel.
They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President Pence. Once again, you've provided the perfect segue to a new topic, which is climate change. And Vice President,
what about, say, stopping fracking and stopping pipeline infrastructure and
As president, would you be willing to sacrifice some of that growth, even knowing potentially that it could displace thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of blue-collar workers in the interest of transitioning to that greener economy?
The answer is yes.